Well, Razorback fans, it's a pretty solid regular season, but now it's time. Now it's time to prove to everyone that you're for real. Let's talk about on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Neighbors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first purchase. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend, as it was a good one for many reasons. We'll talk a little bit of Razorback softball advancing to the Supers, which is awesome for them, as well as the Razorback raffle. We're gonna have to talk about the Razorback raffle, but I did want to open up today's podcast in discussing the ending of the regular season for the Arkansas Razorback baseball team, as they were able to take care of business and win the series against the Tennessee Volunteers, where they lost game one, came back and won game 2 and 3. In fact, I felt like going into game 2 that if Arkansas was to win that one, they would win game 3. It just had that feeling. It had that vibe to it. And that's exactly what ended up happening. Arkansas took care of business and they won game 3 by a final score of 8-4. And they finished the regular season 43-12, 20-10 in the SEC. And if you really want to dive into it, folks, it's incredible because Arkansas has won 20 games in the SEC. I believe it was 4 out of the last 5 years or 4 out of the last 6 years, something to that nature. Just absurd. Absolutely absurd. But they finished with being the 2 seed in the SEC, and really hard to complain about the regular season. And especially the ending of this, because you once again beat Tony Vitello, your future coach, in a series here where Arkansas has had a lot of success against Tony Vitello, and especially with Dave Van Horn and everything. But Tennessee's a good team, a team that's probably going to make some noise. And if they don't host a regional, whoever gets them in their regional, they're going to be pissed because they're going to be a good team. But either way, it was just a really good game there on game 3. You know what you were up against. You know what you were having to deal with. And you took care of business. And in the beginning, it was kind of back and forth. But that third inning where you loaded up the bases, and it may have been the highest hit home run I've ever seen in my life by Ryder Helfrick. I mean, that thing skied high. It doesn't even, and the wind wasn't really there. So it wasn't even like a wind-aided pop-up that just went out. It was just a moonshot, truly. The outfielder even lost it, but even if he didn't know where it was, it went over the fence. So Arkansas was able to get a grand slam in that one, and that really opened it up, and Arkansas just really never looked back. So he had a great performance there by Ryder Helfrick. Logan Maxwell, he's been really hitting well, folks. He was 2 for 3 in this game. Hiva Loy, is good to see him get back into the groove of things. He goes 2 for 5 in this, and that was really all that you needed. Chuck Davalon had one hit. Nobody else had a hit. You know, Kahio Aloy didn't have a hit. Not Cam Kojal. No Big Country. Reese Robinette didn't have a hit. But you did have a few guys get on base with walks. Either way, Arkansas took care of business, and it was awesome. It was truly awesome. It was good to see them end on a really good note. And I did want to give a shout out because, you know, in this one, it was about pitching for Arkansas as well. Gage Wood comes in, and I think Gage Wood did a pretty solid job. 3 innings in there. He gave up 7 hits, but only 2 runs. And, you know, again, you did all right. This was a series that just had a ton of hits. But Gage did his thing. But then Landon Beidelshees comes in, as well as Will McIntyre. Both of them do some great things. But I want to give a huge shout out to Will McIntyre, man. That's a guy that I know a lot of people feel certain ways about when he comes in, which I still think is dumb, because the dude, if you look at his numbers, are pretty incredible. But, man, he came in and he was absolute nails. Just worked Tennessee and came in got 4 strikeouts, didn't give up a single hit there in the final 3 and 2/3 inning. Just incredible. He was fired up. May have dropped some swear words because of how fired up he was and talking about Tennessee and everything. But I love that for him, and I love to see that, and that's the type of confidence that you want in somebody like him and others to end on that note heading into postseason play. I will say, though, and again, Tennessee's a good team. I've never seen a team that takes more time and more stoppages in play than, like, these games were so long, and there was no reason for them to be. I know it's maybe mind games or whatever, but jeez, man, that was getting old. The antics weren't really there. There was a few moments, but Arkansas did their thing. They shut them up and got the series win, and that's really all that matters in the end. So that's the end of the regular season. 43-12, 20-10. You're the 2 seed. You have locked up a national seed. You're going to be a national seed, which, of course, those you don't know, you get to be a 1-8 seed, and you will have home field advantage where you will host a regional, and assuming you win the regional, you will host a super regional in Fayetteville. So good job, Hogs. But now's the time. I know we have the SEC tournament, and that doesn't matter. I do not care about that. No one should. I mean, you want to at least win some games, maybe look good doing it, but you want to get out of there healthy. You want to get out of there ready. You want to get out of there confident. So whatever that looks like, whatever that takes, that's all that matters. I do not care if they go 0-2. I don't care if they win the whole thing. I don't care about any of it. Just do whatever is the best thing you need to do for that. But now is the time that you have to actually show yourselves, the fans, the college baseball world, that this is actually your year to do something with the talent you have. You know, this team's not perfect, but going 43-12 is pretty dadgum impressive. Going 20-10 in the SEC is pretty dadgum impressive. Being the number 2 seed in the SEC is pretty dadgum impressive. And you've been able to do it in various ways. I know the pitching has been a little bit inconsistent, and it's a concern, no doubt. But what your concern was last year, the hitting, that's not a problem anymore. You do a great job hitting. Do a great job scoring. It's much improved from what it was a year ago. So you've made that adjustment. And your pitchers, even though there has been some inconsistencies there, you still have some of your best baseball in front of you. Like, I feel like when this team is at its best, when the players are at their best, there's nobody better in the country than them. But it's about finding that now, here. You can no longer have your ace going up against these teams and struggling. You cannot go to the bullpen and have guys that you've counted on, guys you felt like were ready, walk in and get beat up. You just can't do it. These are the things you're just going to have to take care of business in, and you're going to have to get that monkey off your back after the past 2 years, which were just absolutely devastating and heartbreaking. Losing in your own home regional. I mean, last year going 1-2 and you were done. Cannot happen again. There's no excuse. There was no excuse last year. There's really no excuse for this. I'm not trying to put any added pressure. I know baseball's weird. I know in the postseason it's really hard to win no matter the sport. And I really know that in baseball we see some kooky things happen, no doubt. But that's not this year. That's not this team. That's not what this is going to be about. This team cannot afford anything like that. They have to go out and prove that they are one of the best teams in the country. They have fought and they have clawed and they've been through the ups and downs and all around all season long for this moment, for this time. They have come so far to get ready for this. They have tried to get healthy in certain aspects. They are about as healthy as you could ask a team to be at this point. If you look at the starting lineup this season, almost every single player in the starting lineup is batting over 300. Almost every single player. And the only one that's not is at about 296. You have the hitting. You have the potential with the pitching. You have bullpen. You have depth. You have it all. You have to put it together at the right time. You have to accept the pressure. You have to accept what's going to be in front of you. And you cannot, in front of your home fans, once again, for the third year in a row. Leave while somebody else plays extra games in your stadium, moving on to the Super Regional. Cannot happen. Will not happen. Simple as that. So again, hopefully people don't see me as putting too much added pressure on them, because I'm really not trying to. I think they have enough pressure on themselves. They know what's going on. But I love this team. Like Coach Cal, I love this team. I love what they got. I have confidence in them. But now it's time to put your money where your mouth is. Now is the time to show us what you're all about. Postseason's here, baby. Let's ride this and see what goes on. We're going to talk about the Razorback raffle, folks, here in just a little bit. So stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, you ever check your bank account and wonder, where'd all my money go? Well, between dining out and online shopping and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. But that's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over all your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, your investments, and spending all in one place. So you stop managing your money and you can start building your wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even to plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever, and you can track shared and personal accounts as well as set goals and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. It's simple as that. And that's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for half off your first year. All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. So a lot of you know that I have been talking about the stuff going on with NIL and the raffle for the University of Arkansas in the athletic department, all of those things. You all know that. And we talked about it last week a little bit. That last week was the first time that they were rolling out the Razorback raffle, where essentially you play the raffle. It's a 50-50 raffle. You play the raffle, and however much money it gets up to is what whoever wins gets half of that pot. And the other half goes towards the student athletes. So I talked about it. I think everyone knows where my stance was on it. I was not in favor of universities handling this, and especially with the way that it was written into law. I felt like it was a very, I don't want to use the word shady, but it just seemed like it was very generic to where it wasn't going to be going to the things that I felt like it should be going to. And I think many of you felt like it should be going to. But I'm going to give credit where credit was due. They ran the raffle and it was pretty successful. I mean, nearly $300,000 was put down via the raffle. The winner ended up walking away with about 148,000, whatever that is. We'll see in a second. Which, ironically enough, was somebody who sold me 2 tickets for the game on Saturday. So, that's awesome for them. Very happy for them, and I know it was something that they weren't expecting, but seemed like it was pretty successful in this first run. I still am curious about it though, because there were still some things where, I think going into the first game, it was about at like 60,000, something like that, maybe 70,000, or at least leading up to it. And so for it to increase that much, I was really fascinated about how many people were actually donating. Was it individuals? Was it more of these companies? Were numbers being fudged a little bit, like as far as upping other things? Like maybe there was something like that. But whatever. Hey, I get it. You got to make it to where it's a big deal in the first time you do it, and you got to make it happen. So all of that happened, and okay, hey, good job. It was a good success in the first time. A lot of people don't understand, though. You won't see this again until next football season. This was maybe just the only trial deal that they could get. But here's the thing I need people to remind people of. And because I talked to some people there at the games when they were talking about the raffle, and they were still under the impression that this went to NIL. And I want to be clear, folks. Once again, it does not go to NIL. It goes towards support of student athletes. I'll even read you the bill of what these things can go towards. Obviously, it's going to go towards the way of making it the raffle work. The Canadian website that Arkansas uses, I know like that money can go pay for that. I know that the software and supplies and equipment and all of that. But scholarship, financial aid, stipends, or other compensation to a student athlete continuing the institution of higher education. So like you see all these things and that's fine. But you got to remember these things, folks. These things, folks. General support of the institution of higher education's athletic team or programs. General support. What's that mean? Well, I guess it can mean whatever it needs to mean. General support, as well as purchase, maintenance, repair, debt service, or construction of the institutions of higher education's collegiate athletic property, facilities, or equipment. So it's going to go, and this is what this is all about, is trying to get to where the revenue sharing that's going to be happening and going to get passed in July, setting the school up to be able to meet that quota. Because for some reason, Arkansas is having a lot more problems getting to that $20.5 million than I feel other schools are. So this is something to try to help that out. We'll see if it's as successful in the football season as it was this past week. We'll see. But just as a reminder, folks, it's not going towards NIL. It's going towards the foundation. It's going towards the school. And the school gets to decide whatever they want to spend it on. And you'll never know. So I want to make that clear. But either way, there was a big hubbub and a big to-do about it because it was the first one and everyone was talking about how great it was. And then Hunter Yurchek had to do something that was really annoying to me. Just really annoying to me. I know that's surprising to most. We don't hear from this guy much on social media. We don't hear from this guy much as far as any other communication. You all know. I'm not going to get into it. You all know how I feel about the lack of communication and the lack of transparency and the lack of respect that is given to the common fan from the university when it comes to their communication. But I'm going to show you this tweet because it just really, it's just upsetting to me. So this is Hunter Yurchek, where the current jackpot was at $282,000, and then the prize was estimated $141,000. He just screenshots that and then tweets out, "Well, I guess we knew what we were doing after all. Congrats on our winner, and thank you for all those who worked so hard to make this happen in our state legislature, the Razorback Foundation, our department's external team, and our legal counsel, and our game day volunteers, #OneRazorback. Well, I guess we knew what we were doing after all." Very direct shot to, of course, Carlton Safa of Saracen, because he was the one that was fighting so much against it because he wanted it to go through the casinos. And, you know, we all know about how all that fight went out. But here's my thing why it really annoyed me. There was no reason for it, man. This is the problem. Once again, pettiness. Like, I know that there was probably things that were done in politics, things that were said, things that were thrown against, whatever it is. But you have to realize, Hunter, that like Saracen is a very big sponsor, a very big booster to the University of Arkansas in the athletic department. I mean, you can't walk through any stadium without seeing their logo. Millions of dollars. And that was, I don't know if it'll continue. I don't want to speak for them, but it's not like it was going to go away because of this bill that was signed into law. It was still going to be there. But why are you risking upsetting people within your own state, whether you disagree with them or not, and taking this route in your pettiness to try to spike the ball and take your victory lap over this, when you know that it's a direct shot at someone here in the state and a company in the state that has given you a lot of money? What was the point of that? See, again, you didn't have to do this. If you want to do stuff behind closed doors, I don't know what you're going to say. I don't know what you and Carlton would talk about. I don't know. I have no clue. But why go to the public manner to take a very public shot at him and at them, at Saracen, who's giving you so much money like that? Couldn't you have just said, what a success it was? Look how great it was. This was the great first one. You didn't have to do that. You did not have to throw a shot, but you chose to because you, and I feel like so many other people, are more about, y'all are more about being right than doing what's right. And that's a problem. Why, like, that is why would you want to upset or even risk the being upsetting of anybody that is willing to continue to pay a lot of money into your athletic department, to which you've made painfully obvious you have no money? Why? And that was the question I asked on social media when I quote tweeted it. Why? There was zero reason for that. Zero reason for it. Now, again, I'm not here to speak for what is going to happen in the future and what Carlton and everybody's going to do. I don't know. That's not my business. They are great at what they do. They're going to figure it out, all of that. I just don't like that, because not only were you taking a shot at them, there's a lot of people in this state that agreed and were on that side of the aisle for what was going on with the 50-50 raffle. They were on the side of Carlton and Bet Saracen. And you chose, once again, to not only take a shot at them, but when you take a shot at them, you took a shot at the fans that are on their side. Why? I don't understand it. You, as an athletic director, you're supposed to be a politician yourself. Maybe that's your problem. But I cannot tell you how many more fans I talked to that were just upset by this. They're like, why? Like, you don't hear from this guy ever. He never is saying snarky or he's being snarky or cheeky towards anything else. It's always about good luck to so-and-so today or nice win to so-and-so today. But then he wants to make sure that when he goes out there, he takes a shot at a big company that's given him a lot of money. Don't get it, man. I just don't get it. But a lot of you probably don't know, don't care, whatever. And that's fine. I try to look at it from the communication side of things, because that's what always has been my deal. And I felt like that was a dumb, very dumb PR move. Stupid. Regardless of what you are on either side of what you thought it should have been with the university and 50-50 raffle or the casinos and the 50, whatever. That all aside, that's stupid. Don't do things. Don't take public shots to try to piss off people who are willing to give you millions of dollars that you so desperately need, apparently, just to stroke your own ego and to flex your own muscles. It's a joke, man. It's an absolute joke. But you know what's not a joke? The Razorbacks softball team, because they're awesome, and I want to give them a shout out. So stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. A shout out to the Razorback softball team. They are going to the Super Regionals. And it was a crazy, crazy regional there in Fayetteville, where starting just in game 2 for them, they're going up against Oklahoma State. And Arkansas, of course, is the host, and they're the national seed. And they fell behind 5-1 late in the game. And everyone that I was saying, was like, really? Because everyone knows game 2 in these regionals, softball, baseball, whatever, crucial. The most crucial game of them all. And for Arkansas, if they were to lose that game, it was just going to put them really in a bind. And they had fallen short before sometimes of expectations. They've still yet to get to College World Series, but it was just like, come on, man. Cannot go out like that, especially when you have the best player on your team in softball with Bree Ellis. But they grinded it out, man. They came back in the final inning to tie it up at 5, send it to extra innings, and then get the walk-off win. That was magical. That was beautiful. That was awesome. But they took care of business against them, and then they got to play them again for the elimination game. And Arkansas had to wait, and well, both Arkansas and Oklahoma State had to wait because yesterday the weather was so awful. You all know that, man. Hopefully everybody's okay. That hail and crazy stuff that was going on was madness. So they had to wait. It was a long delay, but they won 12-0. I mean, just beat the brakes off of them, run ruled them even. Had 3 runs in the first, 3 runs in the third, and 6 runs in the 6th. just overpowered them. Looked like the team that everyone was hoping to see. And it's crazy too because like Brie Ellis, she's like not even getting pitched to. She's not even being able to get many hits because of that. But she did get on base. She did get even hit by pitch, and she still found a way. She's batting .457, by the way, for if you're interested. That's just a stupid number. But either way, shout out to the softball team. I'm going to try to go to the Supers. I know a lot of times it just always is tough, and I've meant to go to a lot more games this year than I have. But I'm going to try to go to the Supers, and hopefully they take care of business. I believe they're going to end up playing Ole Miss. So whole SEC action. I'm sure it'll go well. But shout out to them. That's awesome. Can't wait to see them all play out. Can't wait to see them in Oklahoma City for the College World Series. So hopefully they continue on and have a successful weekend. Appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Neighbors Show for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. We'll keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you then.